As I reported a little over a month ago, Disney will be bringing their 1994 animated masterpiece, The Lion King, to 4K ultra high definition for the very first time this Christmas. And now it's finally been made official by Disney. In this video, I'll be taking a look at all the details of all the different versions of The Lion King 4K releasing across the US and Canada, the UK and Australia, and when you can rustle them up in stores and on digital platforms. Additionally, I'll briefly take a look at the specs on this release as well as the special features that we can expect to find. I'll then deliver my final thoughts on all of the releases and answer the age-old question, is it worth the upgrade? I will also be leaving Amazon affiliate links down below for those who wish to purchase the movie. On your screens is the list of topics that I'll be covering in this video. If you're more interested in checking out some over others, then please feel free to skip forward via the time codes I provided down below. Otherwise, you are of course more than welcome to stick it with me for the long run. Also keep in mind about 90% of the time, things do change between announcement and release, whether that be new additions announced closer to release date like regional exclusives or changes to artwork, special features and specs. In the US and Canada, The Lion King will be roaring onto 4K as a Signature Collection Ultimate Collector's Edition on the 4th of December 2018. This 2-disc release will pair the new 4K disc with the existing Signature Collection Blu-ray from last year and will additionally come bundled with a digital code. It's very odd to see Disney releasing this with different artworks in the US and Canada, which I'm pretty sure is the only time they've done this, and I'm not exactly sure why. While I like the simplicity of the US artwork, I think that the Canadian artwork, which features the film's original theatrical poster, is absolutely stunning, and really wish that Disney would issue more covers like this in the future. Again though, this could be a listing error where Canadian websites are maybe just displaying temporary or pre-approved early concept artwork, but then again there's also a bilingual edition heading for Canada which uses the same art, so it seems like this could be pretty legit. As per usual, Best Buy will offer an exclusive steelbook of the release as a 4K plus Blu-ray plus digital combo pack. I'm honestly not too sure how I feel about this artwork. Again, there is a nice simplicity to it, and I like the original character sketches on the cover, but there's something about the style of it that doesn't really feel suited to this particular movie. It's almost a little too modern for my liking, especially with that bland font for the title. It would make sense if this was a design style that went across all of the signature releases consistently, but as a one-off, this just kind of seems out of place from the collection and again, out of style with the film itself. Additionally, Target will offer an exclusive 4K plus Blu-ray plus digital set, which will be presented in what either looks like an exclusive slip or a digipack in the style of the recent Nightmare Before Christmas and Hocus Pocus releases. The set will also come bundled with 4 pretty average art cards. I don't mind the artwork on this one, but again, it just really seems out of place and doesn't seem to suit this particular film. British fans, rejoice! Disney are actually releasing an animated title on 4K in the UK and practically concurrently with the US release, with the release expected to land on the 3rd of December 2018. What is going on here? Are we living in the Twilight Zone or something? The UK will receive a standard slipped release of the film, including the new 4K disc as well as the previous Signature Collection Blu-ray, which is released for the very first time in the UK in this collection. Sadly, for those with no interest in the 4K disc, this seems to be the only way to get the Signature Blu-ray in the UK at the moment. Interesting to note, however, that the UK release doesn't sport either the Signature or Ultimate Collector's Edition labels. Zavvi will additionally offer the Steelbook edition of the release exclusively in the UK. The Zavvi Steel features the same artwork as the Best Buy Steel and will also collect both the 4K and Blu-ray discs. And finally, the Australian market will receive the 4K edition a week later on December 11, 2018. However, as always, don't forget you'll most likely be able to pick this up in store 2 days earlier on the 9th. It seems at this stage that only one edition is headed to Australian shores, which will be a standard non-slipped edition featuring a 4K and Signature Blu-ray disc. Likewise, this set marks the first release of the new Signature Collection disc in Australia, though an individual Blu-ray doesn't seem to be available just yet either. Interesting to note that the Australian release will carry the Ultimate Collector's Edition label, but not the Signature Collection label, despite a number of signatures being released in Australia last year. Again, Disney shows that there is very little consistency between their releases, and I just really can't understand the method behind their madness. There is no word at this stage on whether JB Hi-Fi will stock a steelbook. Okay, so let's briefly take a look at the specs for this release. The Lion King 4K Ultra High Definition release will feature a brand new 4K presentation with HDR coloring, which Disney promises offers brilliant brights, deeper darks, and a wider color spectrum with more lifelike colors. This will be complemented by brand new 7.1.4 Dolby Atmos and Dolby Digital Plus 7.1 audio tracks. The Blu-ray disc, again being the previously released signature disc, will feature the currently available 7.1 DTS HD Master Audio soundtrack. A number of foreign language and subtitle tracks will additionally be available, but these may vary depending on your region. Considering Disney doesn't put supplements on their 4K discs and the Blu-ray is a simple repackage, there is absolutely nothing new here special features wise. However, for those interested, the Blu-ray Signature Edition offered around 40 minutes of new featurettes and carried over a small handful of Diamond Edition features while demoting many legacy features to digital only. If you'd like a more in-depth look at the special features on the Signature release, you can check out my breakdown of them in my previous Signature detailing video from last year. You can click through the link in the top corner right now or via the hyperlink at the end of the video. To me, it's not a huge issue that there's nothing new here because this movie has been documented so much by now that I can't imagine anything else that could really be offered. I am a little disappointed though that Disney have missed yet another opportunity to release the original DVD special features physically on Blu-ray instead of continuing to demote them to digital only, which not everyone can access. I'm also a little bit disappointed that they haven't taken the chance to put the special edition version of the movie on the 4K, but I can live without that. Now let's get on to some final thoughts. The Lion King is one of the last great traditional animations and the highest grossing of all time. However, it was also one of the very first animated films to be processed using computers, so it natively derives from a 2K source, meaning that this new 4K release will technically be another 2K to 4K upgrade. It's pretty hard at this point to say what the benefits of a 4K master will be on a film like this, especially considering that this is not only Disney's first traditionally animated catalog release on 4K, but pretty much the first of the kind on the format, outside of DC's 4K releases of their new animated films, of course. Other than that, there's really no precedent on which we can base our thoughts on this one, as this one is quite literally going to be the one that actually sets that precedent for catalog releases at least. So all we can really go by right now is our understanding of animation on the format as a whole. So far, Disney's only animated 4K releases have been Cars 3, Coco, and The Incredibles, with Incredibles 2 and a catalog release of Wreck-It Ralph coming within the next few weeks. While Disney's 4K animated releases have offered marginal upticks from the standard Blu-ray releases, I've found them to be fairly lackluster overall. They haven't really offered an enormous uptick in clarity or color, offering presentations which are almost identical to their HD Blu-ray counterparts. As I mentioned, DC have released a number of their recent traditionally animated titles on 4K, and while I'm yet to see any myself, all reports have been that they've been practically indistinguishable from the Blu-ray releases. The Lion King is already one of the most incredible looking animated movies on the Blu-ray format, so I would honestly be lying if I said I thought a 4K release of this was going to be a revelation. I can't imagine an enormous amount of new detail or texture really being brought out in a 4K master of this. That said, this is a gorgeously colourful movie and seems absolutely right for an HDR presentation, which I personally think will be the selling point for this title. I'm particularly excited to see how the colours of the African savannah in the Circle of Life sequence and the bombastic colour explosion of I Just Can't Wait to Be King pull up on the format. Again, while I'm not expecting a revelation, I do hope for a truly stunning and engaging experience. The Lion King is absolutely going to set the benchmark for traditional animation on 4K, and I think that the possibility of more 4K catalog title releases from Disney will depend on how happy they are with the presentation of this one and on how well it sells. I have already heard murmurings of The Little Mermaid being prepped for a 4K release, and I imagine Aladdin will likely receive one next year alongside a signature release on Blu-ray just before the live-action film hits theaters. I'd also love to see some classics like Snow White and Fantasia hit the format, but before we get too ahead of ourselves, we really just need to see how this one fares. So the million-dollar question is is it worth the upgrade? With so many editions of The Lion King already out there on Blu-ray, I imagine a lot of people are going to struggle with the idea of doing a double or triple or quadruple dip on this one, and so soon after the last release came out. My personal thoughts are that if you absolutely adore this movie, it's one of your favorites, and you're excited to see it in a new presentation, then yes, I absolutely think so. But don't really look at this as an upgrade, just as a companion to your previous copy, and hopefully a new way to experience the film, just as the 3D edition was. I also believe that if we want more of these in future, a purchase of this one will help show Disney that there is a market for these releases. If you, on the other hand, don't really hold the film as a favorite and are exceptionally happy with your Blu-ray, then perhaps this release can warrant an easy pass. If you don't own this movie at all, you've got a good 4K setup, and you're interested in owning this, then this is definitely the best version of this movie to pick up right now. For me, I'll certainly be picking this release up for myself. As an enormous fan of the movie, I do already own the previous 3 releases on Blu-ray, as well as a copy of the DVD, so I can't really justify buying more than one of these new editions. So I'll simply be getting my Canadian mate Vince to pick up a copy of the slipped edition for me, and keep my fingers crossed that this stunning artwork pulls through on a final release. And at that, it is over to you guys. What are your thoughts on the Lion King 4K release? Will you be adding it to your collection right away, waiting around for reviews, or throwing it a huge hard pass? Fire away in the comments below and let me know your thoughts. If this is your first time viewing one of my videos, you like what you've seen, you'd like to see more like this in the future, then please don't forget to hit that big old subscribe button up on your screen right now, and also hit that like button down below if you're feeling extra generous. Also, don't forget to check out my many social media accounts, and please consider supporting me over on Patreon. Thanks for watching, guys, and I hope you have a wonderful day.